Good afternoon, Jordan Sheridan, live from the mothership. Whew, what a rainy, disgusting day here in New York City. Hope everyone is having a lovely, lovely day. It is Monday, June 10th, 2019. I have been spending most of my day doing something I really, really, really hate. I have been spending all day working on fixing Status Quo's business plan. I don't know if you guys know this, but we're not only a media revolution here, we are a business, and we have a business plan that we did like a year ago, but we have to tweak it now that we have better numbers and all this early success. So I have been working on Microsoft Excel formulas, which has given me a brain aneurysm. I don't know if any of you have ever done Microsoft Excel. Maybe for you intelligent people in math and formulas, it's not that hard. But for me, who failed 11th grade math and is quite proud of it, Microsoft Excel is literally like that. I prefer this than having to do Microsoft Excel. And for those of you that don't know, this is the claw. This is the claw, which is now my main accessory, so I don't have to bend down and pick things up. This is what happens when you're 32 and had 2 back surgeries in 1 year. But I digress. I see YouTube is suppressing us special for Monday, so we got a little bit lower of an audience than we should. So I need all of you, to smash that like button. Smash the like button like your very existence is on the line, because it is. The more people that press the like button, which if you're watching on mobile, you need to X out of the live chat temporarily. You'll see the thumbs up button. Press that thumbs up button, and then you can go back into the live chat. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see our live stream. Marcus, our newest reporter, was live a little bit earlier. We're going to try to get him going live more often. Ty is going to be live tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern time, so look forward to that. And obviously, I'm live 5 o'clock Eastern, but you got to smash the like button. Smash it, smash it, smash it, smash it. Thank you, Citrus Peppercorn, getting us started in the super chat. $1. Become a Status Quo member, which we'll talk about a little bit later. You can follow us at Status Quo on the Twitter. I'm at Jordan Sheridan. Subscribe to our podcast, bit.ly/Status Quo podcast, and join our email list, statusquo.com, and enter your email so you can get all of Status Quo's breaking news alerts early and often. So, we went live yesterday for our Marathon Sunday live stream. A lot of you joined us. We had a great interview with Bernie Sanders' campaign manager. We had Ron Placone from the Jimmy Dore Show. Jen did a good report. We showed you some reporting from Ty. And we grew, I think yesterday, 10 new Status Quo members just yesterday while we were live for the marathon. So welcome to our wonderful, wonderful Status Quo members. We are now at 456. Count them, 456 Status Quo members and growing. Our goal for the end of June is to get up to 500, right at the top of that member meter. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but membership is super important, particularly as we send out our business plan and try and obtain a little bit more funding from progressives, potentially progressive celebrities. I won't name drop, but we are targeting some folks. So we got to get that membership number up, because obviously folks that might want to give us funding want to see that we have a growing audience. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'll tell you what, this is a super chat. So if you're feeling super on a rainy day, have you tried SBA? I don't know who SBA is. This is a super chat, so if you're feeling super, let us know. And I also want to give you an update. We're also raising money in our GoFundMe, so we are now at $58,185. in the GoFundMe. Thanks to everyone who contributed yesterday. Whatever your poison is, you could leave money in the GoFundMe or the Super Chat. We accept either Super Chat, YouTube, in addition to censorship and other shenanigans. They take 30% of our Super Chat. So either way, you could do Super Chat, but we obviously prefer GoFundMe, which takes a little bit less. So I actually want to start on I want to start on Joe Biden. And I like any excuse to show you the slow-moving train wreck that is Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Oh, God. Every day is another thing with this guy. I mean, the arrogance. His arrogance makes Hillary Clinton look humble. And thank you to Colin Tooley for that fantastic graphic of that big Joe Biden, his head popping out of there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Joe Biden, the guy who campaigns every 3 weeks, he stays home the majority of the time. Everybody else running was in Iowa this weekend, but Joe Biden, because Joe Biden thinks he has this in the bag, which kind of reminds me of Hillary Clinton, who thought, she was entitled to the nomination. She did more fundraisers and actual rallies for several months, and we all know what happened. And remember, smash the like button. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see the live stream. We got 90 people watching right now, but only 62 likes. So 30 of you got to press that like button. So Joe Biden, we saw him last week borrow Mitt Romney's flip-flops, as you saw Status Quo report. After supporting the Hyde Amendment for 30 years, the Hyde Amendment is basically a ban on federal funding for abortion. He lickety-split. He changed his He changed his position on the Hyde Amendment in 48 hours. And I was talking to somebody who's, gives a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt to establishment people. And they were like, well, Bernie voted for the Hyde Amendment too. Yeah, Bernie voted for the Hyde Amendment because it was snuck into a bigger package where there was a lot of good stuff in. But Bernie was adamantly against the Hyde Amendment and said so at the time. Joe Biden was for the Hyde Amendment this whole time. And again, the Hyde Amendment, if you don't know, bans federal funding for abortion. And if you also don't know, this was Joe Biden in the 1970s saying, I don't think that a woman has the sole right to say what should happen to her body. So, I don't know, folks. I mean, some people might say, oh, he evolved. That was in the 1970s. But I don't want somebody as president who at any time thought a woman should not be the sole person deciding what's right for her body. Okay. So now you have a political story, and Politico in general is terrible, and they do hit pieces on Bernie, but they definitely know the establishment pretty well. And Politico is reporting that Joe Biden's strategy is basically to run in an alternative party than the one that the Democratic Party actually is. He brags about his ability to get along with Republicans. He's not in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's good graces. His campaign has sent mixed messages on climate change and abortion funding. It seems like Joe Biden is running for the nomination of a different Democratic Party than the rest of his rivals because he is. From his schedule, his messaging, to policy positions, the former vice president is carving a divergent path through the primaries based on a theory that few of his rivals appear to believe, that the Democratic base isn't nearly as liberal or youthful as everyone thinks. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a high-risk strategy at a time when the progressive wing is pulsing with energy. There's a danger of looking disconnected from the rising Obama coalition or seeming to adhere to an outdated view of the party. But so far, it's working. Since his April 25th launch, despite talk that his polling numbers would slide once he entered the race because he was out of touch with the current party mood, Biden has led in every national survey. Well, he's been dipping the last week, but let's not report that. He sprinted out of the gate with a post-announcement 6-point bump and still leads in recent early state polls. Quote, he is keeping his eye on becoming the nominee, and the more important thing, if you do become the nominee, You have to win the Electoral College in places like Pennsylvania and Ohio, said Jim Maurer, who ran veterans issues in Iowa for Biden's 2008 presidential race. If you're only speaking to a specific group in the Democratic Party, those things are not going to be appealing to the general electorate. Oh, how wrong these people are. How wrong these people are. Quote, the fact of the matter is the vast majority of the members of the Democratic Party are still basically liberal to moderate Democrats in the traditional sense, he told reporters in early April. That was Joe Biden said that. The idea that all of a sudden the Democratic Party woke up and, everybody asked, what kind of Democrat are you? I'm an Obama-Biden Democrat, man. I'm proud of it. Oh, God. Stupidity. The stupidity of Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. First of all, forget the Democratic Party for a second. Polls show that socialism is outpolling capitalism. Are you with me? Polls are showing that socialism is outpolling capitalism currently. And Joe Biden thinks that the Democratic Party is still moderate? Are you serious? Polls show that Medicare for All is polling at 70%, 80-something percent among the Democratic Party. But Joe Biden is running a campaign and essentially wants you to vote for him under the guise that there is this elusive moderate Democrat, even though there is no such thing anymore as a moderate Democrat. You know what a moderate Democrat is called? A Republican. Centrism is an illusion. It no longer exists. And all you got to do is go through the polls where not only Democrats are further to the left, but Republicans are further to the left. So apparently Joe Biden is running for president, in his mind, in 1996. This is the old theory, Chuck Schumer said in 2016, for every blue-collar Democrat we lose in Pennsylvania, we're going to get 2 moderate Republicans. How'd that work out? So Joe Biden actually thinks he's actually wrong in 2 ways. In 2 ways, count it. He's wrong in the first way of thinking that to win the Democratic Party nomination, you have to be moderate. That is not true. The only reason that Hillary Clinton won the Democratic Party nomination in 2016 was, first of all, it was rigged for her. I don't think she won Iowa. I think there's mathematical evidence that they rigged it for her. Bernie Sanders was down 1/10 of 1 point. There was other states that were wildly close for Bernie Sanders, who had no name recognition. But more importantly, the tide was just beginning to turn. This anti-establishment, anti-centrism, anti-neoliberalism. And we've seen it in 2016 go from Bernie Sanders winning 23 states, 13 million votes, to now, every single Democrat has basically cheated and copied Bernie Sanders' whole platform. Why? Because they're reading the polls. The party is to the left. So these centrist, moderate voters are no longer, for things like, let's tinker for Obamacare. No, they want Medicare for all. You know how we know this? You saw Bernie at a Fox News town hall. A Fox News town hall. And the audience, not exactly like, communist progressives, raising their hand for Medicare for all. But Joe Biden, his strategy, besides campaigning every other week, besides doing 0 interviews, besides, changing his position every 48 hours based on when the wind blows, is to try and play to that elusive, moderate Democrat? Well, let me ask you a question. If that elusive, moderate Democrat, if that's who Joe Biden thinks he needs to get to beat Trump in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and Michigan, Trump did not win the centrist, moderate Democrats. Trump won actual liberals. He won by actually proposing progressive economic free trade, repealing NAFTA and reining in free trade. That's not a moderate to centrist position. That's progressive. That's to the left. Trump was out-lefting most of the Republicans, and those blue-collar workers in the Midwest, They weren't voting for Trump because he was moderate. They were voting for him because he was feeding to them, besides a bunch of BS, he was feeding to them progressive, to the left, progressivism. Thank you very much. And remember, smash that like button. The more people that see, the more people that press the like button, the more people that don't see our live stream currently will see the live stream. So we got 160 of you watching, only 96 likes. So if you're watching on your phone, X out of the live chat for a second, smash the thumbs up button, and then you can go back into the live stream. So I just don't understand this ridiculous notion of to be electable in those states, because this campaign and this election is going to be decided again in those Rust Belt states. You're playing to non-existent moderates. No, Trump won because he was offering, it was BS, but he was offering progressive populism. He said, no more war. We're going on our own. Progressive. He said, I'm going to repeal NAFTA. I'm bringing back the jobs. We're going to reopen your plants. Progressive. Populist. Yeah, the tax cuts and this and that, but that's the people in the Midwest, by the way, 10% who voted for him voted for Barack Obama. 10% of Trump voters voted for Barack Obama. Were those the moderate centrist Democrats they're talking about? The strategy is crazy and it's absurd. And honestly, it's not just Joe Biden, because this is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's strategy too. Nancy Pelosi has continually said, hold the center. What center? You're talking about not actual voters. You're talking about hold the center, meaning let's continue to be neoliberal and Republican light so we can keep cashing those checks, baby, from Wall Street, from fossil fuel companies, from big pharma, real estate developers, and all the rest. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Quote, there's a big disconnect between the media narrative and what the primary electorate looks like and thinks versus the media narrative and the Twitter narrative, said one Biden advisor who declined to speak on the record. Quote, the Democratic primary universe is far less liberal. It's older than you think it is. Oh my God. So basically, you're running Hillary Clinton's campaign. This is Hillary Clinton's campaign that they're running. Like, to the letter of the law. This is Hillary Clinton's campaign. They're playing to some delusional center that no longer exists. And they're not worried about grassroots support. They're playing to big dollar fundraisers instead of small dollar donations. They're barely doing events. I guarantee you this summer, like Hillary Clinton did, Joe Biden will do more fundraisers than events. And one of the reasons that Trump won, besides the $3 billion in free advertising they got, was he did more events than any other candidate. He did way more events than Hillary Clinton, particularly in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So let me get this straight. Joe Biden is going to run the same campaign as Hillary Clinton. They're not going to play to the progressive base. If he got the nomination, he'll probably pick a centrist as his vice president. So basically Tim Kaine 2.0. He's courting Republican donors, which Hillary Clinton did. He's doing more fundraisers than actual events. Hillary Clinton did that for a good stretch of time. And their mentality is to straddle this line, play to older voters, not play to progressives, because he's underestimating the true strength of the progressive base, and delusionally think that he's going to get Republicans that voted for Trump to vote for him. This is the strategy. And you know what that looks like, folks? Sorry, I love doing this. A slow-moving train wreck with Joe Biden as the conductor. I mean, this is a train wreck waiting to happen, folks. What do you think? Tell me in the super chat. This is a super chat, so if you're feeling super, let us know. I mean, honestly, besides the arrogance of thinking you don't have to really campaign because you're the vice president, besides the absurdity of putting out best friends forever bracelets on Twitter, did you see that? Joe Biden put out a BFF bracelet, him and Barack Obama for Best Friends Day. I mean, Frankly, I'm not going to say it because it's a little crude, but Joe Biden is one step short of giving Barack Obama sexual favors to get votes. I'm just keeping it real. And it's kind of sad and pathetic. And why this is important is the media is essentially doing what they always do, because rigged elections are not only rigged through the DNC, they're rigged through the media. So the media is painting him as the most electable, and the media is putting out the same false narrative that to win those Midwest states, you have to be moderate. No, Trump didn't win by being moderate. He won by being a fake populist and pushing progressive, capital P, progressive legislation. Why is it that when I asked at Trump rallies, I went to a lot of Trump rallies, I probably covered 40 to 50 of them. I still have the therapy bill to prove it. Why is it that when I asked those Trump supporters, who would you vote for if not Trump, they said Bernie Sanders? Well, Bernie Sanders isn't exactly a moderate. Jen, I got to tell you, Jen, if Joe Biden becomes the nominee, when he loses, I want people to remember this. I want people to remember this live stream, because I'm telling you right now, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it that Jimmy Dore is to blame. I don't want to hear it that status quo is to blame. I don't want to hear it that anyone is to blame but the idiots running the Democratic Party and CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times for propping up this man. And I got to say something else. Somebody else brought up Elizabeth Warren. Let me tell you something. And I might get in trouble for this, but I'm just going to tell you what I think. If Elizabeth Warren was running against Donald Trump, I would vote for her without even thinking. I think some of you are crazy. Do I love Elizabeth Warren? No. Is there some things she's done that I don't like? No. But Elizabeth Warren is not a lesser of two evils situation. She is progressive on economics. Putting that aside, I think Elizabeth Warren is really hurting Bernie right now. I think she's pulling away a lot of his votes. You could say, well, so what? She has strong policies. She's very specific in her policy proposals, and she is entitled to run just like Bernie is. Completely agree with you. The problem is she's not going to win, I feel. I think that Elizabeth Warren's chance was in 2016. I think she blew it. I think that Elizabeth Warren does not have, thank you, $2 in the super chat. Snorky, 2K, $2. How to give a tip on how Dems rigging 2020 caucus. How to give a tip? You can give me a tip. I don't want them to rig it, though. I think Elizabeth Warren, if she remains nationally, single digits, 9 to 10%, if she does not get a bump out of these first few debates, I'm not saying she should immediately drop out, but you have to start wondering, if you're Elizabeth Warren, if you're still going to remain after the next few months single digits or low single digits. If you cannot, right now she's right behind Bernie in Iowa, but let's say Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, she remains third place or fourth place. I don't think it's the progressive thing to do. If you really want a progressive vision of America to go through, I'm speaking about Elizabeth Warren, to stay in this race. Marcus, who's our new reporter, which definitely become a status quo member. Right now, we can't keep Marcus past 2 months. So we got to grow that membership. We'll get into membership in a little bit. But I think Elizabeth Warren is pulling at least 6 or 7 percentage points away from Bernie Sanders. Now, I don't think she should just step aside and, go vote, go support Bernie. She's entitled to put her policy positions out there. She's certainly entitled to, be in the debates and all that. But at the end of the day, Bernie has been the most consistent one. Bernie has done the hard work. Bernie, not only in 2016, but has barnstormed the country for the last 3 years. Elizabeth Warren did not. Elizabeth Warren, for the most part, in the Senate, has done a lot of viral moments where she's yelled at bankers and things like that. I like those moments. I've shared them. She, of course, was the impetus behind the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and she deserves credit for that. But at the end of the day, I mean, I would think if you're a progressive and you see you don't really have a shot to win the nomination, you would drop out earlier than others because you are basically taking away valuable points from Bernie Sanders and basically splitting the Democratic vote to help somebody like Joe Biden. So, I want to be careful because obviously she has a right to run. She's a United States Senator. She is progressive economically. I don't love her positions on other things. I think she's been missing in action on a lot of important things, like Standing Rock, obviously not endorsing Bernie in 2016. But when I look at these polls, it just seems like it's redundant. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are for the same exact things. Elizabeth Warren's policy proposals, I mean, if you look at Bernie's proposals versus Elizabeth Warren, there's not a lot of daylight. So it seems to me that at a certain point, it comes down to ego. Elizabeth Warren wants to be president. Bernie Sanders wants to be president. But can you imagine Elizabeth Warren or Bernie on the same ticket, whichever way you slice it? I mean, I think they would crush Donald Trump. But I really hope Elizabeth Warren, and I'll be called sexist, like, oh, Jordan's telling the woman to step aside. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for the most part, she has seen an increase in the polls, but she's still significantly behind in national polls. There's Biden, and then there's Bernie. And as I've reported here on Status Quo, the polls are very, very suspect because they are wildly oversampling older voters. So when you look at polls that have a more even distribution as far as age, Bernie's only down to Biden nationally, like 7 or 8 points. That's nothing at this stage. So that's what I think. But I got to tell you, every single day I see another story about Joe Biden not campaigning, about Joe Biden not doing media, about Joe Biden chasing some non-existent, centrist, moderate Democrat. I really think it's deja vu to Hillary Clinton. I really, really do. I think this is Joe Biden is Hillary Clinton with a penis. Joe Biden is arrogant. He thinks in his mind why Hillary Clinton lost was not because there's a huge anti-establishment fervor, is not because the country is moving left, is not even because the Republican Party is moving left, which it has. If you look at the polls, majority of Republicans support Medicare for all. Majority of Republicans support raising taxes on the wealthy. Majority of Republicans support free public college. I mean, go down the list. Joe Biden is living in 1996. And we can't afford. Status Quo and others are not just criticizing Joe Biden for clicks. We're criticizing because if he gets the nomination, you're going to reelect Donald Trump. And I don't want that. I certainly don't want 4 more years of Donald Trump. I don't think any of you do either. Excuse me while I Marco Rubio. A little more classy than Marco. So that's what I think about the train wreck coming with Joe Biden. So before I get to the next topic, I want to remind you folks, we are at 456 Status Quo members. We grew 10 new members yesterday during our marathon live stream. So thank you to our new members. Membership is so important. I'm going to give you the behind the scenes right now. Jen might be mad at me, but we always give the behind the scenes. Right now, Jen and I were supposed to talk about, after I'm live today, whether we should go to the first debate down in Miami. And I want to go to the first debate. Jen wants us to go to the first debate. But the truth is, it's really expensive. Ty is moving to New York, which is going to help our costs. However, right now he lives in LA. So when you fly in Ty from LA to Miami, the cheapest flight we could find is $500 one way. That doesn't even include added costs for equipment, because each bag and each equipment, cameras and microphones and all that costs money. So just for one way for Ty from LA to Miami for that debate is probably going to run us $600. Okay, so then you got me. Which is I think another $230. Then you got the Airbnb or hotel we get. I mean, you're looking easy for 2 days, probably $1,200 to $1,500. And when you add up all the costs, we are growing in membership. But our membership money right now, and I'm giving you the full, transparent, behind the scenes. Put Ty in a bus. Yeah, let me just put someone who needs neck surgery on a bus from Los Angeles to Miami. Sherry Smith, you are cold, girl. You are cold. Right now, we are growing, but our income, we got to pay people. So we got to pay Jen. We got to pay Ty. Got to pay Colin. We're trying to pay Marcus. So we're not even paying me. I'm not taking a salary, which is another story. So basically, we have to keep making these decisions, between, is it worth it? Because right now, we're not in a position where like we could just throw $1,200 to $1,500. We don't really know yet if we're going to get approved for credentials. You know that moment where I interviewed Donna Brazil and it went super viral? Well, that you need to be credentialed to get in the building and to have access to what they call the spin room. We don't even know if we're going to get credentialed because the DNC doesn't exactly like me or status quo. So the point is not to get a pity party, but we got to grow this membership because membership is how we have enough money regularly, month by month, to go in the field. We're willing. We have the will. We just need to grow our business model, which is membership. And the more members we grow, the more attractive we are to get larger funding. That's why if you came to this late, I spent all day working on our business plan, tweaking it, because our business plan was written a year ago, and we have all new numbers. Right now, we're almost at 800 paid monthly members when you add our website membership with our Patreon. So that's amazing. We're growing, but we got to grow faster and we got to grow quicker. So if all of you, for any of you, there's 200 watching, if there are, 20 of you, well, I don't know, whoever's on the fence, just know that membership is not so we could have lavish dinners. It's so we could go out in the field and cover the campaign. Because I want to go to those debates. Yes, I want to interview Bernie supporters. I want to interview Tulsi supporters. God, I want to get in the face, respectfully, of Biden supporters and Kamala Harris supporters and Pete Buttigieg supporters. Because you want to know something? We need to get out to the public. And I think a lot of these clips could get picked up by the media. I was successful getting clips picked up by other websites when I was at the Young Turks. We need to get out how tone deaf the supporters of these people are. We need to get out how they don't even know their full records. We need to get out that they might even know some of their bad record and they just don't care. We need to get out the questions. Do you care that they are losing to Donald Trump in key swing states? Do you care that once they are in, if they were the general election nominee, they're going to get attacked and attacked and attacked on X, Y, and Z? Do you care that they've been evolving, aka moonwalking faster than Michael Jackson on Medicare for All and free public college? Do you care? So that's why we're trying to grow our membership. And the next story, I think, will remind you of what we've already done. Thank you, Andy P. $9.99 in the super chat. Please get to those debates so we can get the real story. We're trying. But unfortunately, money don't grow on progressive trees. So we gotta keep growing the pie here. So moving on. And if you have not pressed the like button, I need you to press that like button. We're at 200 watching, 143 likes. So. While Joe Biden continues not to campaign, continues to sit at home and do God knows what, continues to do fundraisers with Comcast. Now reports say they're organizing a fundraiser with him with Goldman Sachs. I mean, this man is so out of touch. It's unbelievable. Well, Bernie Sanders. I mean, honestly, I'm starting to worry about Bernie. I don't know about you, Jen. I'm starting to worry about Bernie. I don't know where this man has this energy. I mean, it's like he's like, a superhero. One day he's picketing with Walmart workers. Then he flies to picket with McDonald's workers. Then he tucks in with Verizon. I mean, where is this energy coming from? I hope he doesn't crash. So Bernie Sanders was on the protest line yesterday with McDonald's workers, which I'm telling you, this is the way to get votes. Be on the street, on the ground with the people. It's pretty much the same strategy we have. as a media company. Get on the ground with the people. That's how people know who you are. That's how people become attracted to you. That's how people get inspired by you. And that's how people, in Bernie's case, will vote for you and donate, and in our case, become members. So Bernie also found the time, which I love, to remind the American people that Jeff Bezos is an economic terrorist. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. This is what oligarchy looks like, he tweeted. Amazon used its enormous wealth and power to kill a tax to build affordable housing in Seattle. 1 year later, thousands of people live on the streets, and the city continues to struggle with the crisis. And he tweeted to a story that I'm about to read to you. And for those of you Status Quo members, you remember a couple weeks ago, Jen, myself, Ty, we were in Seattle as the only national media on the ground there covering. It's not a crisis, folks. It's an epic catastrophe, what's going on in Seattle. And if you live in San Francisco, you know what I'm talking about. If you live in Portland, you know what I'm talking about. If you live in Los Angeles, you know what I'm talking about. Ty's about to do an interview in LA this week about the exploding homeless situation. 16% increase in homelessness year over year in Los Angeles. He's going to be on the ground doing some interviews there. So Seattle, we got there. I mean, Jeff Bezos and the Amazon balls are in the center of downtown, and everything around is just homeless people. And it's not like, this stereotypical image of like a drunk, sleeping on the streets. It's you and me. Normal people that cannot afford to put a roof over their head in Seattle, living on the streets. I want to read a story to you so you know just the dire straits that the people of Seattle are in. The wine was flowing as a group of Seattle's business elite gathered at Bar Cotto, an Italian restaurant in the city's trendy Capitol Hill neighborhood, where the menu features an expansive selection of salumi and pizzas topped with truffle oil or Calabrian chili. The topic for discussion: how to solve the region's intractable homelessness crisis. The usual ideas came up: donations to charities, tax code tweaks. Then Dilip Weigel started talking. The senior partner at McKinsey & Co. had written a report saying the city needed to double its spending to provide the roughly 14,000 additional homes needed for people who couldn't keep a roof over their heads. Philanthropy wasn't enough, he said, according to attendees of the November function. A lot more money was needed. The exchange underscored an impasse that's persisted in Seattle a year after Amazon and other companies beat back a city effort to raise money for homeless services through a tax on larger employers. So if you don't know what they're talking about, and as we reported on the ground when we were in Seattle a couple weeks ago, thanks to you and your membership got us to Seattle. Thank you, Maddie Perry, $4.99 in the super chat. Remember, Schumer basically endorsed Warren. Wouldn't doubt if Biden picks Warren for VP. I think Biden would pick Kamala Harris as VP, but Warren, that's possible too. So basically, because Amazon and the coding and software engineer jobs and tech jobs that have come in are mostly six-figure salaries, the rent in Seattle over the last 5 years has gone up 70%. Yeah. No, I didn't say like in the last 20 years. 5 years. 70%. So it's not just Amazon. You got Boeing, Microsoft, other Silicon Valley type companies. So because of, I'm not blaming coders. I'm not blaming all tech workers. Amazon workers, they went to college, I guess, or they work hard and they have skills. It's not their fault. But because of these jobs and because the high salary jobs, because Washington State has no actual income tax. So you think of Washington and Seattle as very progressive, but the state is very regressive when it comes to taxes. So basically, native people, like actual natives who are from Seattle and from Washington State, they can't live there anymore. And not everyone, has money to just get up and move. Not everybody has a relationship with their family where they could fall back and go move in with their parents. So you have the street littered with working people who actually still work living in tent cities. And it's not like those tent cities are spread out from the nice places in Seattle. Those tent cities are immersed right in very nice gentrified new apartment complexes. You see it right next to it. And by the way, welcome to new Status Quo member Stefan Barcelo. So we are now at 457 Status Quo members. Thank you, Stefan. Keep it coming. We need more members. We want it. Let's shoot for 465 by the end of this live stream. Is that too bold? We just got one more. So 457. Welcome, Stefan, to the media revolution. So basically, to help alleviate this homeless catastrophe, and frankly, Amazon's economic terrorism, that's what I call it, the city council, led by Shama Sawant, a socialist champion city council woman in Seattle, passed a head tax. And that head tax was going to charge companies like Amazon $250 a head. And that was going to go towards more affordable housing and alleviating this homelessness catastrophe. $250 a head is like pennies to Amazon, which is a $1 trillion company. And you know what Jeff Bezos did? And I'm about to get demonetized, but I don't care. He fucking kicked and he fucking screamed and he fucking threatened to take his ball and leave Seattle, and the city council caved because they're all bought off by that fucking economic terrorist, Jeff Bezos. I said it and I don't regret it because that's what he is. And by the way, I am a hypocrite and I'm okay admitting it. I did order this from Amazon because I needed it quick. This is the claw because I can't bend down. I'm a month removed from back surgery and I've been bending down too much and I've been hurting myself. So Jen was nice enough to order this on Amazon for me. But other than that, I'm not ordering from Amazon if I don't absolutely need to. Because let me tell you something. I do not believe that for progress in one area, quicker delivery and making life easier and making life easy for everybody. I don't believe for progress in that area, we just say, well, let's have a Hunger Games economically. And that's too bad that, people who live in Seattle and San Francisco and Portland and Chicago and LA and Philadelphia and New York City, that's too bad. Hopefully they could find somewhere they could afford. Darth Corey, $2 in the swear jar. Thank you. No. So Jeff Bezos killed that $250 tax. And by the way, it would have barely made a dent in Amazon's bottom line. But it's not about the money. It's about the power. Because Jeff Bezos and Amazon and Walmart and corporate America, they don't want to give a fucking inch. Because if they give a fucking inch, they are very afraid of the progressive movement. Why do you think Jeff Bezos, after Bernie Sanders went on a crusade against him, gave? Because $15 an hour is pennies to Amazon, but he saw the movement growing. He saw that what he is doing and what Amazon is doing to its workers and this and that was starting to get a lot of national attention. And he did not want any more eyeballs on what he was doing. Welcome, new Status Quo member, Alex Fisher. Welcome to the party, Media Revolution. Now we are at 458, count them, 458 Status Quo members. Alex, welcome. And we are very excited, every new member. It's like Christmas, even though I'm a Jew, seeing as we get new alerts for more members. So we want to get to 465 by the end of this live stream. We're at 458 now. Keep it coming. So let me get back to this. The exchange underscored an impasse that's persisted in Seattle a year after Amazon and other companies beat back that city effort to raise money for homeless services, which I just explained. Many businesses argue that the solution to the challenge isn't more government spending, it's government spending more efficiently. Local officials, meanwhile, have failed to articulate a clear plan while facing a regressive tax system that limits how new funds can be raised. That's led to a divide that's left little room for action. Quote, "It's all stalled," said Daniel Malone, executive director of the Downtown Emergency Service Center, which provides supportive housing, health, and employment aid. Not only did the tax fail, quote, "but I think the fight has kind of stalled out even the conversations of where to go forward." Chronic street homelessness in Seattle has become a constant reminder of civic failure in a progressive city that's thriving economically. Yeah, thriving for who exactly? Who is it thriving for? Because it's not thriving for people from Seattle. It's thriving for coders, software developers, and the rest. And I'm not knocking them. They work hard. They have skills. Good for you. But that does not mean everyone else should be kicked out or left to go sleep in a sleeping bag on the streets. Tent encampments are a regular sight along highways and under bridges, while makeshift shelters have appeared in neighborhoods where homes regularly fetch more than $1 million. In March, a local news channel produced a controversial documentary on the issue called Seattle is Dying that attracted millions of views and spurred calls for more aggressive response. Big companies' relief efforts have largely centered on donations to nonprofits and aid to the mayor's office. Oh, so basically Amazon and these other companies, so they could make money and hoard money hand over fist, they're creating the homeless catastrophe. They're perpetrating the economic terrorism. And then, for the problem they created, they're so giving to charity. You see how capitalism works? You see how capitalism works? It's a racket. It's a racket. Status Quo, can you come on at 3 p.m. Central Time every day instead of RR? No. I come on at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Sorry. But we're going to be doing live streams earlier in the day too. Ty will be live tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Ty Tuesdays, so be ready. So put it in your phone, 2 o'clock Eastern. So I'm worked up now. I'm getting a little hot and bothered, but I want to remind you as Status Quo members, and for those of you sitting on the fence, I'm about to show you what your membership is going to. I want to remind you of the economic terrorism that Amazon is perpetrating. This was my interview with Shama Sawant that was able to happen because you guys are members, and you guys, membership is how we go in the field to cover the stories no one else is. Here's Shama Sawant on Amazon and the epic homeless disaster there.
You kind of talk about, there's this notion that Seattle and cities like it are
And it's not only the billionaires that are benefiting. Obviously, they're taking home the life. Everything you
and cities like it, bars and restaurants and shops. You have people that say, oh, they're bringing all these jobs, but jobs for who? I mean, we were downtown yesterday, and it's very striking. You have gentrified areas with bars and restaurants and shopping districts and just sleeping bags, homeless people, and people just walking past them. And I think what's also striking is a lot of the homeless here work. A lot of the homeless work. There's a lot of young homeless and youth homelessness. So can you kind of talk about, there's this notion that Seattle and cities like it are, I think, in many corporate areas, think it's booming. But it doesn't seem to be booming for anyone but the wealthy.
Right, and I think everything you captured in that comment and question really is goes to the heart of the way the capitalist system works, which is that you can have a booming economy, and yet that booming economy is going to leave behind the vast majority of people to some measure or another, some worse than the others. And so what you see is a construction boom in Seattle, also a jobs boom in some ways, but it mainly is benefiting a small section of society. And it's not only the billionaires that are benefiting. Obviously, they're taking home the lion's share of the wealth, but you do see tech jobs. And yes, absolutely, we want good quality jobs for ordinary people. We want people to excel in maths and sciences and really explore their talents. The problem, and this is the reason I'm a socialist, is that the problem with capitalism is that jobs get created only as a means, only so far as they are a means for expanding ever expanding the profits for a small section at the top. And who are we talking about? Our enemies are not the workers in the tech sector. Our enemies are Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, billionaires like that. In fact, those three billionaires own more wealth than the entire bottom half of the US population. That's the kind of system we're talking about. And so that system is geared to rewarding people who already have immense amounts of wealth. And so Jeff Bezos gets richer every year while the rest of us get poorer every year. So, but what you said about developers having the keys to the kingdom, really, I think that's a metaphor for capitalism itself. Capitalism is a productive system, but the only people who have keys to the kingdom are the sliver at the top, and the rest of us have to struggle. And so, as a socialist, I would like us to, imagine a different kind of society where the incredible wealth and resources and everything in our society is harnessed to make sure that everybody has a decent standard of living. And short of socialism, let me talk about something that we can do in the here and now. You talked about rent control. Absolutely, Seattle needs rent control without loopholes, corporate loopholes. What Seattle also needs is a massive expansion of social housing, which is publicly funded, affordable housing that will remain affordable to everybody at all times. But that has to be funded by taxing big businesses like Amazon and Macy's and so on. But what would that actually be? That would be a massive jobs program. So let us not be beholden to this that you can only have jobs if you allow Jeff Bezos to make profit hand over fist. No, there are many examples of how we can create jobs publicly, unionized living wage jobs, where it also benefits society.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com where you can sign up for our email.
Give me more Kshama Sawant. I love her. She's fantastic, 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 and she's correct. So what Kshama Sawant is talking about is this. Basically what she's talking about is the fetishizing. This fetishizing with business, that we need to prostitute ourselves as government and give Jeff Bezos and his ilk whatever the hell they want. Well, guess what? I'm in New York now, okay? And New York, an activist fought back and said, no, we're not giving you $3 billion in tax cuts. You're a $1 trillion company. We're not giving you a damn thing to come to New York. And guess what? He took his ball and went home. But now, very quietly, Amazon is shopping for office space in New York. So they're still coming without the goods. But no, the city council in Seattle, because they're bought off, yes, Amazon was pouring money into local city council elections, giving it to city council members, so those city council members would then kill a tax for them to pay to clean up the homeless mess. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And it's not just about Seattle. Yes, I'm talking about Seattle right now, but this is going on all over the country. San Francisco used to be able to affordable to live. Not anymore. Portland, LA, San Jose, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Milwaukee. I mean, the list goes on. Also, thanks to you being a member, we were also able to get a little bit more of a local perspective from this gentleman, John Burbank. Let's hear what he had to say about Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
On a pedestal, Bernie is now talking in his rallies and campaign about gentrification. So Seattle, you have Amazon, which seems to kind of control the city. I mean, in terms of, I don't want to say the government, but a lot of catering goes on for Amazon because they bring so many jobs. But the kind of jobs they're bringing, like we were talking about before we turned the camera on, is very, high salary and good jobs. So no knock on those people who are experienced and software engineers or what have you. But it's kind of created a bit of a tale of two cities here.
Oh yeah, tremendous. This is a new phenomenon. It used to be like 20 years ago, if there was a recession, you'd have an increase in homeless people, and then in a boom, you'd have a decrease in homeless people. But since 2010, the homeless population has probably increased by at least triple-fold, maybe 4 times. there are now more than 4,000 homeless kids in the Seattle School District. So that's like 8% of all children are homeless in the Seattle School District. So you have this awful phenomena, which is really, I think, an outgrowth of the sort of corporate capitalism that we have, where you have this tremendous increase in income and wealth, and side by side you have a tremendous increase in homelessness and destitution and hopelessness.
And, really what the city council was trying, at least last year with this employer tax, like you said, it would have been kind of like to Amazon pennies, really.
Yeah.
But they fought, with this is a tax on jobs and workers and yada, yada, yada. So even though Amazon is bringing in all these jobs, it's kind of like, it seems like the rationale is, well, that's just the price of doing business. Some people are going to be displaced, but look at all the other benefits. Look at the restaurants and the bars and the shopping districts and all that.
Well, I think that the problem with American public policy in general is that rather than planning in advance, we're always trying to catch up with the development. And so we have the same situation here where traffic is really awful. We do not have a very good mass transit system. And we have not, the city has failed to really keep up with the demand for livable housing, right? And so as a result, you have a city where if you have money, you're going to do okay, although you're going to end up waiting quite a while for your bus. But if you don't have money, then you're probably going to be pushed out to the suburbs and spending, a couple hours a day, literally, maybe 3 hours a day, literally just commuting back and forth. It's a good part of your life. Or you may stay in the city and find minimal marginal housing, or you may be frankly priced out of your home and you become homeless.
And a lot of the homeless people are actually working people.
Yes, a lot of working people.
Mm-hmm. So, because when I see in the corporate media, aside from...
And you know what the worst part of this is? You know what the absolute worst part of this is? After Jeff Bezos killed this tax that would have went towards alleviating the homeless process, left Seattle. Amazon is leaving Seattle. They're going to Bellevue, I think it is, which is giving them a sweetheart deal. You know what Amazon is, folks? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Amazon is the guy who courted you and wooed you and told you you're not like every other girl. You're so different. And you finally, you whatever, you guys have a nice night together, and then the next morning, you know what the guy says? Oh, I got to go to the gym. And he's out lickety-split. And you never hear from him again. That's what Amazon is. And it's wrong. And honestly, going back to the beginning of this live stream where, Joe Biden is running, let's make America normal again. Well, this is what America is. This is America's normal. People, it's an economic Hunger Games. And if you don't have the money, or if you fall on hard times, or if Jeff Bezos and his ilk come on into town, you better pray. You better pray that your parents will bring you and your kids in, or you have friends that you could stay with. Because if not, it's a tale of two countries. It's disgusting. And Bernie Sanders is right. He is right. This is what oligarchy looks like. And if you never saw this, and again, we're trying to grow our membership so we could do more of these interviews. Here is a homeless person who's working. It's a homeless person that's working. And part of why he does not want to go for a job interview is because if he goes for a job interview, when he gets back, his stuff will probably be stolen. Because this also happens quite a lot in communities with a lot of homelessness. You can't leave your stuff because there's theft and people steal all sorts of things because people are desperate.
Hey, it's Jordan. I'm here in Seattle. We're at one of the encampments that homeless people are living at. You see some of the tents around here. And what's your name, sir?
Sense.
Sets? Oh, Sense. Yeah, yeah. So we were talking. You've been at this location now for about 6 months, you said?
Yeah.
So Monday they're coming to sweep it up. We've been seeing that a lot. So can you kind of talk about what you're dealing with now? Because you've been here for several months, but now it's kind of like, where do you go when the city's coming in trying to sweep people out?
Yeah, it just sucks because like we finally like gathered enough stuff and got enough things to where we've accumulated some nice things. We have like a little home set up, but now we're having to tear it all down. And the biggest hassle is now that I have all this stuff accumulated and I have some nice things, between me and my girlfriend. So where are we gonna put it? How are we gonna get it from here to another spot without other people stealing it? You know what I mean? Where are we going to set up? Is the spot that we set up in going to get, are we going to get told to leave in a half hour's notice like we did at Green Lake, or, a week out from now are they going to come and, sweep us again? And it's just a struggle because we don't know exactly where to go. If we knew where we could go and set up and have some ground rules established, and some criteria to follow, then, we'd like set a standard, then we could, set that goal and, try and maintain a little community there. But it's just a struggle because, it's one thing for us to try and police our own stuff, but when we don't have anywhere for sure, people can say, oh, well, screw you, you don't own this area, you can't tell us how to do, yada, yada, yada. And so it's just a pain.
Do you feel like the city of Seattle or the state are trying to actually help folks like you, or just kind of get rid of homeless people?
Honestly, I feel like they're just trying to corral us in spots where they don't have to see us, or throw us in jail if they can for whatever reason. I think local law enforcement looks for whatever excuses they can to kind of throw us in jail, and to get us out of the way. And the rest of us, they just kind of corral the different spots, where people don't have to deal with them. Yeah.
And, so you've been at a couple other spots too, or this was your first spot in Seattle?
This is the second spot I was at. Initially I was at Green Lake. I was right on the water, and nobody had hassled us. We kept it really clean and everything. There was like zero garbage. It was just my girlfriend, myself, in our smaller tent. But one day they showed up. Everybody was putting bags out in front of our place. They said, you have a half hour to be out of here, or we're going to basically sick the cops on you. And there was 2 squad cars, and the cops were just kind of sitting at bay waiting for us to not move along quick enough, and then they were going to sick the cops on us.
And kind of talk to me about your story. You're from a half hour away from here?
Yeah, I'm from Yelm. It's a few hours south of here, and they have like zero resources out in Yelm. But Olympia, the capital, is right near there, and you'd be surprised. I mean, for being the capital of the state, there's way more options out here than there is as opposed to Olympia, as far as resources. But I don't know, what else do you want me to say?
And it just seems to me like you drive around these communities and it's all like fancy new housing, yet right next to that fancy new housing and nice neighborhoods is like just endless amounts of basically tent cities where people are homeless. Do you think that's in part because of business has come here and Amazon has come here and all that and driven up prices to the point where people can't live?
I mean, they got 12 freaking Google buildings down on the waterfront, you know what I mean? And you see a couple of tents pitched out there even, But I don't know, it's nuts because, I mean, you see so much stuff out here, and it's just surprising to me that they don't have something, like they have a couple of little tiny house areas, you know what I mean? I'm surprised they don't have a certain area that, they couldn't tell us that we could stay in and kind of police ourselves or whatever, because there's plenty of room out here, I don't know.
And what's your story? Did you just like fall on hard times a couple of years ago, or how'd you get into this situation?
I was actually in an apartment, and I was asked to leave because I was arrested on the property, and that's my own fault. I could have made different choices, but I made the ones that I made, and it ended me up being homeless again. And there's just nowhere out in Olympia for us to go besides shelters where they won't let us be together in a shelter because we're not married. And so we came out here just because there's a lot more of us out here that are doing the same thing, and it's cool to get a group of people with the same the same things going on, and with that respect the same things and want the same things for each other. It's just, so like wherever we move, we're just going to keep basically my buddies, my girlfriend, and I in a tight little group, and so that we don't have to worry about people, being little bedwetters and leaving all kinds of garbage and needles and stuff out, and watch our own stuff. And a lot of the problem, I guess, was that the crime rate went up since we've been out here, which is probably true. But yeah, so I'm just hoping that if it's just our own little group and we're not out car prowling and stealing shit and, looking like a bunch of junkies leaving crap all over the place, that hopefully they'll let us stay put wherever I find us, to go next.
And other people you spoke to that are in your situation, other homeless people, are people like willing to work if they could find a place to live? Are they willing to kind of like do things in the community? Because it seems like it's not, for the most part, people unwilling to work or do things. They just can't afford to live anywhere.
Right, yeah, no, a lot of us are willing to work. I mean, I myself, there's a gentleman 2 blocks over, and I've done his brakes on his van. I've changed his oil. I tuned up his van and changed all the spark plugs on it for him. My buddy's actually a mechanic too, and like we do odd jobs for people in the neighborhood. I mean, if we can find them that are willing to deal with us, So it's not that we don't want to work. One of the factors is I don't want to go out and look for a job and then come back and realize that, hey, in a half hour I had to have all my stuff and be gone again. It's kind of difficult, if you don't know where you can be at night, to go out and go seek work in the morning when you don't know if your spot's going to be available for you to go back to sleep to when you get home.
Yeah. And it's got to be hard, like psychologically, because like you finally feel like you have some stability here. Yeah. And then you find out, and you kind of like make a little home. You were showing me like you got a nice little sky view through the tent, but then like the city's coming to sweep you up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just difficult because like we've tried to keep it clean. We've tried to keep people that are being a nuisance and being rude and like obnoxious to the community out. And it doesn't. I almost feel like it doesn't matter how much we've policed ourselves out here, that they're still wanting us to go anyway. You know what I mean? No matter how good we were or how much we didn't do the things that they don't want going on, that it doesn't matter, that it's just an eyesore and they want us out of here.
Would you have a message? Because obviously, Jeff Bezos and Amazon, there was efforts by the city to put a employer tax where companies like Amazon would have to pay a little bit more, and that money would go towards, in large part, the homeless issue and trying to get people more housing. They fought like hell against that. Amazon, you got a message for Mr. Bezos or Amazon as far as seems to be a real indifference to people like you and your struggle?
Yeah, he's not going to waste any energy on us. I'm not going to waste any energy on him to even say anything. So,
my last question is, can you kind of talk about, you're here with your girlfriend, you said your friend. There's a lot of people, like we were in downtown Seattle last night, and you see people kind of lying in the streets, just passing homeless people, and it's kind of like it's kind of normal here, People just pass, and it's just part of life. What would you want people to know that are kind of just passing you guys in the street and not really thinking much of it? What kind of things do you need from the rest of the community and the country to know about, what you guys are really about and trying to do?
Just some understanding that, everybody has different stuff going on in their lives, and, I understand we all made those choices and put ourselves in those situations, but, like, we can all come from those situations. Like, I've been in this situation and worse situations before and gotten back on my feet, and it's just a matter of, first and foremost, myself wanting to make change, but second of all, having any support. Support's huge. You make the right moves and people support you, you want to keep going in that direction.
And lastly, you hear Trump and these people talking about the booming economy in America. The economy's booming. Who the hell is the economy booming for? Because I see a lot of booming for software developers and computer programs, but working people or just average people seem to be struggling just to afford anywhere to live here.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Not you.
No, not me.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, brother.
That's America. That's America. And that's your booming economy. Booming for who is the question. And hey, if we're not gonna push you, for those of you watching that have $5 to $10 a month, we really hope you'll spend it on status quo, because I think we're showing you we are capable and more than willing to get out there and cover the stories that no one else covers. And how you actually change things is if you wake more people up to what's going on. Majority of people do not know what is happening in this country. They don't know that for their, luxury and leisurely Amazon orders, what is happening in places like Seattle. They don't know that people just like them are homeless all over this country, because in a lot of cases, out of sight, out of mind. But in my experience, most people, when they do find out about these things, are not just passive to it. Most people are compassionate. And a lot of people, particularly progressives, a lot of you kind of vaguely knew what was going on, but it wasn't until someone like Bernie Sanders woke you up in 2016 that you became active. Well, I think journalism has the same exact potential to do that. And that's why we are trying very hard to actively grow the grassroots way through viewers. So that's outdated. We're now at 458 members. And I hope if you've been on the fence, obviously if you don't have an extra $5 to $10 a month or $179 annually, we get it. We don't want to make your situation worse. But if you got $5 a month, if you got $10 a month, $179 annually, let me tell you something. Every single member makes it so Jen and I don't have to have any more conversations. Can we afford to go cover a debate? Or can we afford to go to this breaking news story that should be covered but no one's covering? Can we afford? Can we afford? Well, we will be able to afford once we grow the media revolution, and that's paid membership. So if maybe you get a Starbucks latte once a week or whatever, think about whether real aggressive in the field journalism is worth it to you. If not, if you want to depend on CNN, the New York Times, Washington Post, or so-called independent outlets to cover the news, well, you get the media you deserve. Just like they say, you get the politicians you deserve, you get the media you deserve. So if you'd rather, spend your money on BS, then I respect that. But if you want to help us grow an actual media revolution, I'm not talking about bumper stickers. I'm talking about a revolution, folks. Statusquo.com/join. Statusquo.com/join. It ain't complicated. We can be out there. We could be out there a whole lot more. I'm ready. Yeah, I got to do physical therapy for my back, but for the most part, I'm ready. And we got Marcus, who we just hired. He's ready. And Jen wants to go out in the field more. And Ty is moving to New York for the job. So we're all ready. We just got to grow. So statusquo.com/join. Make it happen, folks. Make it happen. And thank you. We got a couple contributions in the GoFundMe while I was airing that. So we're now at $58,227. Thank you, Kelly, as always. Andrea Paperno, $10. Patrick Coyne, $27. So many people donating many times. So we really, really appreciate your contributions. And with that, I bid you adieu. I will be back tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Stefan became a member via Patreon today. Welcome, Stefan. Yeah, you can become a Patreon or a member. We prefer membership to our website just because Patreon takes a little bit more of a percentage, but either way, it doesn't matter. Patreons get the same bonus content that members get. So you're welcome to become a member through our website or Patreon, whichever you prefer. Patreons are just as valuable as our members through our website. So that's it, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Ty will be live tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock Pacific. So set your phones for a reminder. Ty will be live. Marcus is going to be going live more. And we are trying to grow this one member at a time. One member at a time. Yes, Darth Corey, you can do both. You can be a Patreon. You can become or a member through the website. Or both. Hey, if you want to do both, we're not stopping you. We certainly are not stopping you from being a Patreon and a member through the website. That would be great. Thank you very much, folks. And remember, most people are not lacking compassion. Most people have no idea what is going on in this United Corporations of America. Peace out.